How's everyone doing? Today we will be going through um, a video that I've been meaning to make for a while now, but recently had some extra time. This would actually be the second recording of the same video. Unfortunately, the first video I recorded without audio, and we are back for the second time to take some revenge. And I am 1,000% sure that it is recording audio right now. So, as the title suggests, today we'll be solving life. And I have to put an exclaimer in as an engineer. And then additionally, I'm not a license, not advice. I have to say this because if someone says, but because Shadi said so I can do it, and they put it to my back, and I say just those two amazing words, then I am not legally liable for it, which is what we want. Okay, so we're gonna solve life. So how do we approach this question? Okay, so regularly, and I'm gonna talk for a little bit and write as little bit as I can, just so you guys could really piece it with me together. Okay. So I would say that for the most part, I have a pretty good grasp on what I want my life to look like, and for the most part, I would say, for me, I have solved life. Now, just by saying that, you guys could probably tell this is a perspective-based question. So, let's write that down. So this is a perspective-based question, and what do we really mean by that? So, I could go up to any person on the streets, let's just say, homeless, and they're like, hey, how do you feel about life? He'll tell me, I feel absolutely amazing. And he probably gets really cold in the winters, has no food or shelter, for the most part, finds scraps and change, and he is satisfied. In his own right, he has solved life. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because that's not what my life I want it to look like. And if you want to be homeless, by all means. So, let's first kind of get a basis for who should want to listen to this and why they could grab some value from this video. Okay, so I'm going to assume, and for the most part, you don't want to be homeless, and you want a worthwhile life. Okay, so what does worthwhile look like? Well, it's really in the name. So, and I'm just pulling up this other amazing research that I did a long time ago, and I just want to share it with you guys today because I think it's some pretty cool stuff. So, when any question, I'm going to go into the worthwhile part in a bit. With any question, right, that we as like an engineer, as engineers come into, we usually have ideal situations. If you're like still in like undergrad and in the junior years, we usually have ideal situations, and we have our given variables. We have a situation that we're put in, a circumstance, and we kind of have to piece our way through it with our theoretical background and figure out how the heck to solve the question. I'm sorry, I'm just fixing my chair here. So we have to figure out this question with little to no, as little information as possible, but we have pretty good circumstances to do it. We usually have some background information going into the question. We're just assuming we're in a test, let's just say. And you're usually given a question you can handle. Okay, so in addition to that, there are questions that are worth solving and questions that are not worth solving. Okay. So with that being said, just give me 1 second, guys. Okay. All right. Cool. So yeah. So like we said, there are questions that are worth solving, and not worth solving, and you have to really understand the difference between the two. So, what's something that's not worth solving? Let's just say re-engineering the structural design of a toilet paper roll. And I'm going to say blatantly, it works. They've probably optimized it to a certain surface area and volume that's financially really feasible. There's really no point in trying to re-engineer that. Just not worth it. This is a question. This amazing question of solving life is worth solving. You're talking about your entire circumstance, your outlook on life, your characteristics, your future. This your life. It's your life. This is definitely worth taking a look at. And so, with that being said, understanding that's worth solving, understanding that you want a worthwhile life, and you don't want to be homeless. Let's get into it. So, a worthwhile life is worthwhile in the sense that you didn't waste your life doing nothing. You at least left a mark, That's the way I look at it. I think that anything that comes easy goes just as easy, and it's really important to understand that a hard life, in any extent that it may be, is worthwhile. And things take time. Great things take an abundance of time. And to leave a great mark on this world will take your life. And any goal that's big enough to scare you every day that you wake up is a worthwhile goal and something worth pursuing. And if it takes your entire life to accomplish it, so be it. Right? So you got to have, you'll understand sort of my perspective and how I have kind of come to the skills that I've come to in hearing me explain this and hearing me kind of elaborate on my own perspective. So, how do we go about solving this? Now, let's take the two cases, right? You have really shitty circumstances when it comes to solving a problem, and you have amazing circumstances. So we're gonna define this problem, right? So a perfect problem would have a simple solution. It would have lots of info, straightforward direction. It would be, either in a direct area of expertise, like let's just say math or physics, for example, and there would be a beneficial solution. So that's a perfect problem. Okay. Now we're going to describe solving life. Okay. So the difficulty of it is really unknown. You could have a very simple solution to life, and I'll bring up passion, which will definitely help this later down the line. We have a lack of info because I don't know your situation. So we're going to solve this generically and in theory. And please do your best to apply what I'm saying to your own life. We have a little bit of direction. If you're an engineer or in university or a student in any sense of that, you have at least some partial direction in the sense that you have some education behind you. So you could use that and you can leverage the factor that you have people who could probably also either benefit from this video or benefit from you who watch this video to support their lives. What else? So we're working with a wide area of focus. So it's a multifaceted problem. And you're going to come at this from like interests, your priorities, your circumstances, your day-to-day life, your habits. All of this gets taken into account in terms of how big this solution is. Now, there's the beneficial solution to this, and we have to define an objective, and we'll most likely solve this in stages. So we'll do a stage-based solution, and we're gonna work our way through the problem. So the first kind of, and I did some research on this a long time ago, so I'm using kind of these as little guidelines for this video. But the first thing that I want to touch on is, and I'm gonna put it blatantly like this. Where was my document? Okay. So, we already find it's a worthwhile problem, and another thing that I'm gonna touch on just before I get into the definition of like what this really needs, what this problem could really use, is that the reason why I made the analogy of like some homeless person is because there are people of the lives that you want and people of the lives that you wouldn't want. And so if you need help in setting, I don't want to kind of spoil the next step, but if you need some help in doing this, then look at the people of the lives that you want and set that as a basis, because you want them for a reason. You like them for a reason. And if you want an easy life that's worthwhile, good luck. That's all I could really say to you, because that will be probably more difficult than trying to have a hard life that is worthwhile. And there's definitely some, I don't know, you could call it wisdom, you could call it some good tips for that, but that is a discussion in and of itself. Another thing that I'm going to preface this by doing, and I have a good amount of preface to this because I have to kind of set these parameters and boundaries when I talk and when I go about the solution. But one of the biggest things that you will find here, okay, is that you can have, and I'm going to say it like this, you could have whatever you want in life given X amount of sacrifice. Okay? You could have literally whatever the fuck you want. You just have to be willing to sacrifice. And so one very important point of discussion is that I picked up along the way is that anything, okay, you will ever want has sacrifice. Anything you ever do has sacrifice. Sorry. Anything you ever do has sacrifice. So let's write that down because that's a big one. Okay? So let me put it down like this. I'm going to give it to you in a very simple example. Let's say your goal, minor sub-goal, is to be physically healthy. Okay, so that's your goal. You set that, and you just kind of, from then on out, you move forward in a way that you try and pursue that goal and try and accomplish it. Okay, perfect. Now, merely in you going to, you go to fill your car up with gas, right? So that really, in and of itself, has nothing to do with trying to become physically active, right? Let's put it like your physical well-being is good. So let's just say that you have a healthy body. So going to fill up gas has nothing to do with wanting a healthy body, but you walk to the gas station, you see a chocolate bar. Okay. Now this does. You could see how quickly we just transitioned to that. Now, just in purchasing, and this is how when we move forward in this video, how you need to begin framing your interactions in life. You need to come at mostly, if not everything, with a sense of sacrifice. And so just in wanting to buy the chocolate bar, okay, you've now made a sacrifice, a momentary one at that, to sacrifice some progress towards your goal in terms of your physical well-being, and have taken a momentary let's just say, endeavor, like a gift, a gift to yourself. You just wanted a chocolate bar, and you can try and belittle it by saying that, but at the end of the day, that is counterintuitive to your goal. Okay, I don't care what you tell me, it's counterintuitive. So and you'll see how I move forward with this video, how that direct comparison of towards or against your goal will be made. So this is the framing that you have to do going into this, okay? Now, the biggest question, and that was a simple example. What I'm going to follow that up with is, where is the sacrifice going? Okay? Now, let's take this up a little notch. You're a business owner, right? And you have a busy life. You have your personal life, your work life. You have, let's just say you want to be same person that wants to be physically active. You want to go out every once in a while, maybe play some games, listen to some music. You have hobbies, etc., etc., etc. You have your time filled up, okay? Now, let's just say, and we'll put it to me in my case, like, I really want to work up until a point in my life where I'm financially free in the sense that I can support the others around me. That's my definition, okay? Some people's definition of financially free is billions of dollars, either liquid or they're just insanely rich. Let's just take someone from the royal family of Saudi Arabia, okay? Now, depends on how, and this is why I said this is a perspective-based question, so answers can vary, but we're going to solve this generically, and we're in the process of that. So my next thing of where this sacrifice is going is important because for this business person, right, they who wants to be financially free, that they care for others, the core of what they're doing is care. Their work ethic and how much they work, right, that is not correlated to taking care of their family, but it is inevitably leading up to it, okay? So you're moving in a different direction, but it's a positive direction. And the core point of it is to, have it root back to trying to help your family. Okay. So the sacrifice in this scenario is you are taking away from personal time that you can spend with your family and taking that time and putting that elsewhere in a place that, yes, it varies from the goal that you're trying to accomplish, but you have to understand and consistently remind yourself what the goal is there. There should always be a purpose, okay? So I'm a very big fan of logic, analysis, and data, and many of your decisions in life should back this. You should always be able to describe and communicate why you did X for Y, and always elaborate on to whoever it may involve why you did this, why you did this, why you did that. Have it make sense, because when things make sense, when you can explain what you're doing, then no matter who asks, like you bring the rate at which you could have made a mistake much, much lower. Because when you think things through in a sense that's feasible and it can work in your life, and you can explain that through logic to another human being, they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. Then your life makes sense. Your decisions make sense. Okay? I'm not saying everything has to make sense. You can, and I've had the moments in my life where, like, what I did at the time did not make sense, but it worked. We could take tech startups where you're working like 16, 18 hours a day, like crazy. But in the end, it pays off. If you really put in that much work and you're really passionate about something, it pays off. Okay? And that really doesn't make sense to put in 18 hours of work, but it does work. And for people who make it work, it works for them, and God bless them. So, now that we kind of understand the relationship, and time is going to be a very common variable in what we're going to go through, because inevitably this problem is your life is based on time, right? Like the premise is over time. If you suddenly pass away tomorrow, this problem ceases to exist. Okay? So, we understand where the sacrifice is going and its relationship to our life. Okay, so this is the first point. I'm going to give you guys some quick backstory to myself, because I don't think I've done this. And yes, for the most part, a lot of people who are watching this may know me, but for those that aren't, when I hopefully decide to share this online, there'll be some point that you guys can use as reference to yourselves, and not to draw comparisons, because we all know that drawing comparisons isn't good when it comes to like personal growth. But I'm a very big believer in understanding who you're talking to and listening to advice from only people you would want to have either characteristics from, hear advice from, in the sense that they are at a point in their life where you would want to be. Huge on that, and so it's only fair that I share kind of my journey leading up to this point. So, I would say it started about 6 to 7 years ago. So this would be, I'm 18 right now. We're probably talking like 12, or 11, and yeah, that's when I think the kind of like settling into this type of mindset where, you could call it a growth mindset or call it whatever you want, label it whatever you want, but in a sense where I started to try and plan and really think things through, and things, generally life kind of started to make more sense, and things got figured out from there. And this became even more so apparent when I got to like grade 8, grade 9, and high school on out, when I just started to think rationally through everything, and then things made sense. So when people questioned me on why I did something, I could give them the same logic I thought of, and then they would understand why I did. And then if I ever did something wrong, I either didn't have enough information at the time, or I what's it called, or like they knew more than me and they could help me with it, and it was a win-win scenario in that case. Because if I have more information, I know that like I did the best I could, and if I don't, and someone knows more than me, they can give me advice so I can move in a better direction for next time. Another thing, and the reason why I kept kind of bringing up the healthy body sort of thing, or healthy active living, is around the 6-7 year ago mark, I was 325 pounds, and I am now 260 pounds. So from here to here, you're talking about 65 pounds, which isn't a lot. I don't like to undermine it, but there's definitely bigger transitions, but I feel very comfortable in my body right now. And it took a extraordinary amount of work, and a lot of discipline, a lot of being uncomfortable, and the whole being comfortable with uncomfortable sort of ideas that I had to kind of develop along the way. It was not a very beautiful road to kind of run along, but we sprinted as far as we could, and we're here right now, and we're gonna try and continue to do so. And so I'm very big on the idea of trying to live healthy, because hopefully if you're trying to solve this problem and you're serious about it, you would understand that this is no easy task, and you need as much time as you can get to do it. So please try to be healthy, not just for me, but for you. Now, third of all, I wouldn't say I come from a huge, like a rich family. Just want to write down no hefty financial support, because there really wasn't anyone to just hand me a small loan of $1 million whenever I wanted to. I would probably say we were closest to like middle class, maybe a little bit lower than middle class. My mom did a great job of raising us, and me and my siblings, and yeah, I think she did the best they could, but not anything in the sense that it could positively impact or really change how I've come to this mentality. Fourth of all, and one that I'm a little bit embarrassed to say, is not smart in any sense of that. So book smart or street smart, like I couldn't like really figure shit out. Emotionally smart, which will be huge for relationships, guys. Please focus on this one. And then religiously. Why am I dumb? Religiously smart as well. So really none of that. And yeah, and so I really kind of worked on myself in these capacities along these 6-7 years as much as I could, to try and communicate in the ways that I could best represent myself and best get my point across. I started working towards kind of understanding how business was done, how you talk to people, how you do business with different people with different backgrounds, and then try to emotionally improve myself with family, with relationships, etc., etc., and then religiously learning on what my duties are kind of in this world and beyond it. And so, continuing on with that, one thing that I want to bring up, and I really do think that so far we've come in kind of a chronological order. Maybe the backstory I could have done at the beginning, but I think that these were really to preface what life, what solving this really means. So I still think that we're moving chronologically. Now, one thing that I'm gonna put down right now is your goals. Okay, and I really don't have much to write more than that. But for the things that you really want in life, okay, and this is very important because, and I'll speak to this, for example, in my startup. For the things you really want out of life, the goals that you really want, the people you really want to become like or get to a point in the same kind of like, you want to get to the same situation as them, it won't even feel as if you're making sacrifices. And this is a very, very, very important point. When you get so dead set on trying to accomplish something, and you could see this in entrepreneurs, mainly on social media, they'll tell you like, yeah, no, people won't support you along the way, and even family will turn their backs on you, and it's just like, it doesn't matter, just like you got your goal, and it doesn't matter what they say, even if family goes away, like people hate me, my family, things along those lines. Okay, make sure that you define really what you want in the best case scenario. Okay, take the best case scenario, and I'll go into this in a more detail in like as we go along. But please, 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 do not settle for anything less. Okay, when you are setting your goals, and be very like attentive of where sacrifice is going in your life and where you think you may need more work. Never ever go under and try and think with the misconception of, oh, I will become amazing at X, and then later down the line when I figured my stuff out and I'm in a better position, I will come back and recover Y. No, because what happens is the further you spread away from the thing that you want, the harder it is to get it. I don't care how good you are at, let's just say, for example, building homes. If you're amazing at building homes, but you have a shitty relationship with your family, and you think that 20, 30 years down the line, that's just going to become instantly recoverable, no. You have 20, 30 years of work to recover with your family. It's quantitative in the sense that it doesn't go anywhere, okay? The work that you don't put in somewhere gets left for you to pick it up. Simple as that. And so, well, as you go, okay, at least what I've come to, as you go, make sure that everything that you want, that you've clearly defined, you're moving towards in the same vigor, the same speed, the same passion. Make sure this is all happening as you progress. Do not lack in one area. Okay. So continuing on, we're going to have to mention Benjamin Franklin's 13 virtues. Okay? So, say what you want about the guy, but his virtues, his 13 virtues were a big lesson for me. I'll be honest, I didn't look much more into it, in the fact that, from what I understood from it, was that simply in trying to, just trying, that's a very important word, just trying to achieve your goals, okay? And I don't like to use the word manifest, but just trying to think consistently, recycle these ideas of like, yes, I want to achieve this, and I want to do this and this and this and that. When you consistently keep it on your mind and you work towards them in a sustainable way, you will achieve it. Like just in trying to want to do it, you will do it. Okay? It's just a matter of consistency with time. Okay? And what I really kind of I what's the word? Alliterated or something along those lines, or alluded. Oh, alluded. What I alluded to before was that these goals. Okay, so we're gonna focus and get really into the meat and potatoes of this video. So let's go orange. So we mentioned goals. Okay, we're gonna take this and call it, okay, direction. Okay. And this is what I said, is we're going to define the best case scenario. Okay? Now, this should be just barely achievable. Okay? Like, I'm talking like borderline impossible. Like just there, guys. Okay? There should be such a slim chance of you getting to what you want to get to, and that's for a reason. If at any point in time your goals are easy enough to accomplish in a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, I don't give a fuck. Okay? If it's in any realm of that, then you need bigger goals. That's really it. These things should be just with, like, people should call you crazy when you tell them to them. And that's why I don't tell people my goals, okay? Maybe if someone DMs me really nicely and asks me to tell them, then I'm gonna coffee chat, I'll vaguely tell them what I want to do. But that's about it. Have ambitious and strive to achieve your goals. Be proud of just even in the goals that you set. Because remember, those 13 virtues, when you want to be virtuous, when you want to have these characters and you just try to do them, when you just try to reach these hard-ass goals, okay, you'll become much better off than just trying to set mediocre goals and achieving them. Set the really hard goals and work as hard as you can to get them. Okay, cool. Now, one thing that I said, this is a subtopic, is what makes this easier? What makes this multifaceted problem with little to no direction, which we kind of defined as like our first step is getting that direction, okay? What makes this easier is passion. If you have passion, okay, and you know that it's passion, it's not like you lying to yourself and telling like, oh, I'll work this for a couple of years, I like it, it's so good. No, you really love it, okay? You really love it. Like every day in and out. I personally have never felt that. I've liked things, but I'm not sure if they were ever to the point where it's like I'd be willing to do this every day and love it, or do things unpaid. I like YouTube for the most part right now. Would I sacrifice everything and drop it just to pursue it? Probably not. But I enjoy doing it. I don't know if I would call it a passion, but some people, it's a very simple definition for them. And if you're one of those people, then God bless you, and really you'll be a lot easier off in trying to do this. But be careful how you define it, okay? And if you don't have passion, which a lot of people don't, sorry. If you don't have passion, okay, try a lot of things. Just try things. Just don't say no. Just literally, of course to a certain extent, but don't say no. Keep yourself safe, but don't say no to these new opportunities, to learn new things, to set these ambitious goals. Anything that moves you just a little bit closer to your goals, I don't care how hard it is. Just try it. Because, back to the 13 virtues, just in you trying to do it, you extract so much more value, okay? When you just say yes more often, you extract so much more value from the same life, okay? And just to do a quick circle back to this that relates to it, is that this direction that you define, it could be a Word document, it could be a written piece of paper that you put into an envelope and you just keep it. this is the most crucial step, because, and when I say define the best case scenario, guys, I'm telling you, like, it should be what you imagine your perfect life to be. You don't have to know exactly, and don't even put timeline. Don't even put a timeline yourself. Just say that, like, if I could do this in my life, I can die happily, with a little exclamation mark. Like I said before on the sacrifice part, when entrepreneurs, especially on social media, will tell you, oh, you just sacrifice, just go, 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 go. I've included in my kind of goals that there is a point where, when I've worked as hard as I possibly could and done the things that I want to do, that there's a step back when it's like, okay, I've done what I need to do. For me, that's going to be family. When I get my own kids, my own family, and it's like, God willing, then that's the step back for me. It's time to take it out for my own life and, put my energy and my direction and my focus on my kids and children, my family at that point, right? And I don't know what it'll be for you, but just please make sure that there's a break. Because when you start with these things, when you have these ambitious goals and you become the type of person who begins to develop them, then really all you could do is just go. So just make sure that at the end of the day, you don't get consumed in just stepping on the gas pedal, and bad things can happen if there's no break. So keep that in mind. Now, I don't have much more to say, but I have 2 more points in addition to this first important one of direction. The second one being mindsets. Okay? So there are different mindsets out there. There are people who think differently. There's a reason why not everyone is a super successful person and the happiest person alive. And you have to understand and live with that. Focus on yourself and don't let anybody take too much of your own freedom and freedom of thought, at the very least, because your brain is really, and your thoughts that you think are one of the most important things when it comes to approaching this problem. And I have these 2 graphs that I want to share with you, other than the care that you have to put into talking to others and understanding who you're hearing from, because at the end of the day, they have a mindset of their own and you have your own mindset. Other than that, I kind of, in my research, developed this idea of these 2 graphs. Okay? I'm just going to draw them for you quickly. I don't know if the lines are super straight. I'm just kind of drawing from afar. Now, one being is kind of like normal distribution, and the other more so a bar graph. Okay? And these lines come down, and we're going to say that each compartment, each, section that is dotted out is a skill. Okay? Now, you'll find that for the most part, a lot of millionaires, right, and even billionaires at that, will have the first one. Now, you might be asking, what's the first one, Shadi? So we're going to take your skills, okay, as the y-axis, and your time as the x-axis. And just bear with me on the explanation. So millionaires are usually really good at one thing, and then they sort of kind of generalize after they've grown a company large enough, or they start to divvy up their time, in a sense that not everything is grown to the same magnitude as the original skill, but they start to distribute, become general managers and CEOs, where they need to understand a little bit of everything, and that works. Don't get me wrong, that works. But there's sacrifice, and that family may not be as well taken care of, or felt that they are taken care of in the same right that they should be, just because you're busy and you have other focuses. Just for the sake of conversation, let's just say family is down here and your personal career is the 67% right here. On the other hand, there is this graph. Now, I really want to preface by saying that this graph is synonymous, okay, with being average. Okay. Do not misunderstand that distributing your skills and trying to raise all of them up by the same magnitude and same vigor is the same as just trying to get by with everything. This graph represents putting your utmost best effort into as much as you can. You may not be focusing exactly and diving in on one particular thing, but everything is cared for. You're developing all your skills, you're caring for your family all while you can. Yes, it may take a little bit more toll, depending on the scale which you take how serious you take this, but just go with it with like in the mindset that you have to, take care of a bunch of different skills, develop your career, but it's all, with time. And that's why I say take care of yourself, because to accomplish everything in the sense that you're fully fulfilled will take a good amount of time, and you should be willing to put in as much work as the other guy and a little bit more, but just distributed more commonly. Now, average people will take this and look at us and be like, oh, I'm doing that. I'm trying my best at everything. Is there room for you to rethink and reflect? And this brings me to my third point. Self-reflection. I don't care when you do it. I don't care if it's every month, every day, every hour, every week. Just make sure that you self-reflect consistently and you understand that things will change. And when they do change, you have to adapt, you have to move forward with it, you have to be able to critically analyze what's in front of you, your circumstances, where you want your future to go. This is what self-reflection is, in my opinion. And understand that you are not, if you want to be average and that's your goal, then you'll probably end up being a little bit worse than average. If you want to be spectacular and whatever that means to you, okay, then you will have to try and push your hardest no matter what. And it will be hard. I never, ever will you ever hear me say that this will be easy or anything you will do will be easy. Just don't make excuses and just go for it with all you can. If it's something you truly believe in and something you truly want, it can be achieved. And I kind of associate self-reflection with always ask, question, and answer. So always ask yourself, ask other people, question other people's incentives, their goals, their ambitions. I know ask and question are a little bit more the same, but just discuss and then get answers and, hear from people. And I kind of wanted to close it off with the make sure that there's an end thing, but I mentioned it earlier. But I genuinely think that my you could call it a hedged bet or whatever. I think that if you can really take the essence of what I'm trying to say and, like myself, try and put it into practicality, then you can for sure win at life. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's really all I have to say for this one, and I really hope the audio kind of picked it up this time. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm gonna hope this is shorter than an hour because the last one was about like 58 minutes. So take it easy, guys. If you have any questions, I will be making a little website for you guys to submit your proposals, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys for listening, and take it easy. Bye-bye.